With the technological push of the 2270s, Starfleet Command would create a variety of new scientific starship designs, the likes of which no one had ever seen before. And by the late 2270s, the Parker class would be born. But what do we know about this scientific wonder? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Parker class to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, why do I do this? Once again, I had a story to tell to connect point A to point C with point B, and so I kitbashed together a starship design as a vehicle in which to tell that story, and I hope you enjoy it. But as always, because this is just a bit of fan fiction, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so with all that out of the way, let's begin. By the late 23rd century, the United Federation of Planets, the Klingon Empire, and the Romulan Star Empire had entered a state of balanced antagonism. Thanks to the Organian Peace Treaty, the once often hot relationship between the Klingon Empire and the Federation had become lukewarm at best, with both sides fearful of angering the Organians.
Glorious.
The Romulan Star Empire, for its part, had improved its relationship with the Federation, even finally agreeing to an exchange of diplomatic ambassadors in an effort to keep the peace. And aside from a few notable incidents, overall, the Federation as a whole had begun to relax and reinvigorate its exploratory and scientific mandates, with a series of new 3-year and 5-year mission plans. With Starfleet Command constructing and developing a completely new starship design for its great experiment, which had the potential to open space exploration like never before, there were still many smaller tasks that needed to be completed. The recent discovery of a phenomenon that had become known as the Badlands, as well as other interesting closer-to-home anomalies such as the Briar Patch, had always held great interest to Starfleet's best scientists. And with the success of the Constitution-class refit and her new technologies throughout the fleet, it seemed only natural to begin a systematic scientific investigation into those strange phenomena. But to do that, Starfleet Command would need a brand new specially designed starship class which could better withstand and navigate such anomalies. And in 2276, after a long period of design and development, the Parker class would be born. Named after famed physicist and astronomer Eugene Parker, the Parker class would sit at a length of 180 meters and be designed to be operated by 80 officers and crew members. The Parker class would not be designed for speed, however. Containing a new version of the warp nacelle, the Parker class would have a standard safe cruising speed of only warp factor 5, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 6.5 for 8-hour increments. Tactically, the Parker class would not be well equipped. Though it did contain a standard complement of dual phaser emitter banks, the Parker class would only contain one forward-facing launcher, whose primary task was actually the launch of scientific equipment such as sensor probes. However, where she lacked in weaponry, she more than made up for in defense. Containing a new and stronger version of the defensive shielding for the era, the Parker class's hull would also incorporate Victrium into its hull plating. This would have the bonus of protecting the starship from various higher levels of radiation for extended periods of time. A newly developed sensor array system would be the cherry on top of the Parker class. Incorporated into the secondary hull, this new sensor system would be the most advanced and sensitive sensor array created during this era. The Parker class would also contain a plethora of scientific laboratories and equipment construction facilities that would make this class one of the most advanced scientific starships of the time. the Parker class would also be distinctive from other Starfleet starship classes of the time in another way, as it did not contain a standard shuttle bay. Instead, as the class's primary function was to utilize sensor probes in its scientific investigations, the designers of the Parker class felt a shuttle bay was completely unnecessary. However, after reviewing the design, Starfleet Command disagreed, and after much debate and discussing, a compromise would be reached in the form of 2 drop-style shuttle pod bays located in the underside of the saucer section. As a part of its shakedown cruise, the USS Parker would conduct a scientific survey of the Mutara Nebula in the Mutara sector. A relatively peaceful nebula by standard definitions, the Parker class would spend 3 months mapping and analyzing the area, using its newly developed large sensor array system, as well as its newly developed sensor probes. And overall, the Parker class would perform well, providing Starfleet Command a clear and thorough study of the nebula. As a result, Starfleet Command would authorize an initial production order of 24 of the Parker class to be built, with a plan of sending all 24 starships to various areas throughout Federation space. The success of the Parker class's expansion of scientific knowledge would push Starfleet Command to authorize further scientific studies of gaseous planetary anomalies in the late 2280s and early 2290s. Even the newly refit, with far more standardized technology USS Excelsior would start her illustrious career off with a 3-year shakedown cruise cataloging gaseous planetary anomalies in the Beta Quadrant. As for the Parker class herself, her lifetime would come to an abrupt end in 2320 with a mass decommissioning of the class. Thanks to the development of isolinear technology, suddenly many of the older scientific starship classes were completely out of date, taking months to complete a task that newer starship classes equipped with isolinear tech could complete in a matter of days. And although Starfleet Command would authorize a project into updating these older scientific classes with newer isolinear technology, the Parker class would not meet the new set of standards, and subsequently would be decommissioned en masse. Created to expand understanding and knowledge of gaseous and plasma phenomenon throughout the Federation, the Parker class would sadly become a forgotten hero of the late 23rd and early 24th centuries, earning this class its secretive, yet completely valid place in Starfleet history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Parker class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel catalog gaseous planetary anomalies in Beta Quadrant? Then consider becoming a channel patron, a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to our Patreon account is in the description below. Thanks again for watching, live long, and prosper.